Intro to Bleed by Meshuggah on 6 strings?
No! No! No!
So this was another requested video lesson. I was asked to describe or talk about what is happening in the intro to Bleed by Meshuggah. They play the song with an 8-string guitar, and they are tuned down a half step. Clearly, I cannot do the full song with the guitar I have, so what I've done is tune my E string down to an E flat. The rhythm will be the same as the intro to Bleed. The notes, it sounds pretty close to me on how I'm doing the bends. So let's talk about what's actually happening here. And I know that Meshuggah is quite known for weird rhythm and doing polyrhythms and whatnot. In fact, the same person who asked me to do this lesson wanted a polyrhythm lesson, but that's in a different video. So the way I'm breaking this down is very slow rhythm and then gradually getting faster and faster. The tablature that I made for this is breaking things down into like patterns and showing like how each pattern looks one after the next. The pattern itself is very simple. You're doing 2 fast strums, then 2 slow strums. So that's all it is da 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 da. And it's just really fast. Picking wise, it's going to be important to learn how to do this in a way you won't burn your picking hand out really fast. So what's happening is you're going to go down, up, 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 down, up. Normally I would play that rhythm with down, up, down, 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 up, down, down. But playing it as fast as Bleed goes, and for as long as it goes, it's not very practical to pick it down, up, down, 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 up, down, down. So you kind of have to go down, up, 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 down, up. And I watched an instruction video. I think it was from a Guitar World video where the guys from Meshuggah are playing the riffs of the song like in pieces. There really was no explanation on what the hell's happening, but it was helpful because what I did was count how many times certain patterns were being played. So you have the bends that happen. And now the way I'm approaching the bends on this is bending the first fret, and I'm counting it in parts of 6. So if you look at the tablature, I'm going to have it up on screen on certain parts of this video, but I will also have it in the blog entry that accompanies this lesson. So look in the video description so you can see the different tablatures that I put together to explain what's happening here. Okay, so I'm hitting the first fret to start the bend stuff that happens, and basically I'm hitting 1, and then I'm doing a quarter step bend, then trying to half step bend, half step bend again, quarter step, and then back to the 1. So it's really hard, especially on this first fret, to get that quarter step, half step, stay at the half step, and then come back down with the quarter step. So with the guitar that Meshuggah uses, because you have, I think it's like around the 5th or 7th fret or something like that he's doing the bend on. It's a lot easier to kind of hit that quarter step and half step bend higher up, I think, than it is trying to do it all on the first fret here. So anyway, the different patterns that are happening. This is the main pattern that happens. And that's one repetition of it. So what happens in this intro is you do that pattern 6 times to start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you go into the really slow up and down bend, and that goes for 6 counts as well. And when I say 6 counts, I'm counting how many times that pattern starts. The picking stays the same the entire time. So with the bend part, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you start without a bend on part 1 of the bend section. The second time you start the picking pattern, you're up a quarter step bend. The third time you start that picking pattern, you're up a half step bend. Fourth time you hit the picking pattern, same half step bend is being held. Fifth time you hit that picking pattern, you come back down to only a quarter step bend. And then the sixth time you hit that picking pattern, you are now back on the first fret with no bend. And every time you do the bend section, it's the same thing. It's broken up into those 6 pieces where you just bend up real slow and come back down real slow. It's always the same thing. It's always split into those 6 parts. So from the beginning, you have the open string done 6 times and then go into the bend part. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's the very first chunk. So what happens is you have 6 repetitions of the main part, or the open string, and then you do the bend. And then you do 5 repetitions of the open string, then you go to the bend. Then you do 4 repetitions of the open string, go to the bends. Then you do 5 repetitions of the open string again, bends once more, and the bend section carries over into the verse. And when I say verse, I mean when the vocals start. So, and that part drove me fucking nuts. Trying to figure out what the hell was going on in this song, because it's like all the math shit that I did to try and figure out what was happening and putting the tabs together and whatnot. It didn't make sense to me, because when I was playing it to the song again after I had things figured out, it's like, well, something's not adding up, because when the vocals kick in, I'm not on the 0 anymore. Or, I mean, I'm not on the 0 yet. I'm not on the 0 again. And in my mind, that made sense. Well, when the vocals come in, you finish the whole pattern thing that was happening there. But it doesn't do that. The bend thing is ending when the verse starts. So you still have to make sure that every time you hit that bend section on the intro, you divide it by those 6 chunks, even though that, I think it's like the 5th or 6th, maybe part of the 5th, is happening when the vocals start. So it's okay to be finishing your bend when the vocals come in. That is how it's done. So one more time, you're going to play the open string section 6 times, do the bend. Then open string 5 times, do the bend. Open string 4 times, do the bend. Then open string 5 times, do the bend. By the time you finish that bend section, you will be in the verse. I will not be covering the verse. I can't cover the verse. I don't have all 8 strings to be able to do that. So the way I look at it when I'm playing it is I'm just counting 6, 6, 5, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, Now the metronome is about like 152, it seems like. I don't think that's 100% accurate, but about 152 beats per minute if you're just counting when that picking pattern starts over and over and over again. So I'm going to count each section as it happens while I have a metronome going at 152. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is by no means easy at all. It is a complete mind fuck when you're trying to play this, when you're trying to learn this. The endurance and stamina that has to happen, the accuracy and all that stuff, is a complete pain in the ass. So when you are learning to play this, do yourself a favor, go really, really slow. So the tabs that I have put together are breaking things down with 2 eighth notes and 2 quarter notes, and then the second tab is faster. You have 2 16th notes and 2 eighth notes. The third tab is even faster, doing 2 32nd notes and 2 16th notes. And that's how the song is going. It's always 2 32nd notes followed by 2 16th notes, and it's just cycling that over and over and over and over and over and over again. Eventually it does have a different rhythm happen, and I think that's right when the chorus is kicking in. And when you're counting this stuff, you're going to hear the actual downbeat of the song being played by the drummer. It sounds like a china that's being hit. And he's kind of keeping that 1, 2, 3, 4. So the song is in a 4/4 time signature. I don't know how the guys from Meshuggah count this stuff when they play it. Perhaps I just need more time with it, but trying to count each individual section like I demonstrated and then make sure I come in on the bends the right way is a huge pain in the ass. So I can play along with the song and kind of guess where the bends come in. I kind of feel it, you know, I just feel when I'm supposed to come in and go out. And there's a good chance that they are also just feeling when to come in and when to come out, because when you practice the hell out of something so many times and get it in your subconscious, you don't have to think about it so much when you're playing it at top speed. It's just kind of comes out of you. You just feel it and it happens. So I will attempt to just like nod my head on the 4 so you can see how I'm counting it and see if I can actually hit the bends when I'm supposed to. So you can see that yes, it is 4/4, even though you can also count it in a different way to make it easier to learn the song and play along with it. So I know that wasn't 100% accurate. Felt okay, but it's still really weird. I would need much more time with this song to feel comfortable with it. So just keep that in mind. When you're learning this, it is a very challenging rhythmic piece. So be patient with yourself. There's a very good chance you're not going to be able to play it 100% accurate right away, and that's okay. Now the question is, how are you able to practice this and get it up to speed and know what's going on and know what you're doing? Metronome, absolutely. What I did was a lot of just getting that picking pattern down, like starting at 60 beats a minute. I'd do this like maybe 10 times, 10 repetitions of that, because I was mostly concerned about getting the picking pattern before adding in all the bend stuff. So I do that again, about 10 repetitions, and then bump it up by 5 and get that picking pattern in every single click. I just do it again and again. And so on, and just keep bumping the metronome up 5 beats per minute until I was where I needed to be for the song, and even taking it further speed-wise than the song requires. And I highly recommend doing just that, playing that riff faster than the song needs, because if you can play that picking pattern faster than the song requires, then when you back off on the speed, your endurance is going to be much better in order to last the duration of that intro. And if you have an 8-string, then you can also play the whole song.
Really spectacular.
So one final explanation on the tablature that I put together to help explain this before this video ends. The first way to look at it, I did 2 1/8 notes followed by 2 1/4 notes, and that's the picking pattern. There's a bar line after every time that picking pattern is completed. So it's going to follow the same thing I talked about earlier in this video. It's going to do the open string section 6 times, then the bends 5 times on the open, back to the bend, 4 times on the open, back to the bend, 5 times again on the open, back to the bend. Now the second tablature for this is using 2 16th notes followed by 2 1/8 notes. Now rhythmically it sounds the same. You just have a different beat per minute that you'd be following. And going back to that first tab, you know, if you were to count this, it would be like you're going 1 and 2 3, 1 and 2 3, and so on. And you're basically doing the same thing when you're doing the 2 16th notes and the 2 1/8 notes. Now if you look at the tablature, the first one where you have the 2 1/8 notes and then 2 1/4 notes is in a 3/4 time signature. That's what I put it in order to have the bar line divide each picking pattern section. So for the second tablature, I put it in a 3/8 time signature so I could bar it off appropriately. Now because an 1/8 note is now getting the value of 1 beat, you're technically counting it the exact same way. But if you really want it to kind of feel like you're doing it twice as fast, you might want to like double up how your metronome is. So that last example I did was at 70 beats per minute. I'm going to put the 1/8 note subdivision on my metronome because I can. So now it sounds twice as fast. So you can count it like this. 1 and 2 3, 1 and 2 3, 1 and 2 3, 1 and 2 3. Still making sure that you're picking it the right way. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Now the third way I tab this out is in a 3/16 time signature, which is much more true to the song. And that's actually how I'm playing it when I'm counting out along with the song, just the 1 2 3 4 5 6, 1 2 3 4 5 6, 1 2 3 4 5, and so on. So for this third tablature, play it the way I did and get the whole picking pattern done every time that metronome clicked. Once you get to a fairly comfortable pace for you, I would then start counting how many times you're playing each section, so this way you can get more accustomed to how the song is actually played. Now the fourth tablature I put together, the song is in 4/4. So the tab is now in 4/4, which is how the song goes. And if you look at just the rhythm notation itself, the rhythmic pattern repeats every 3 bars. And what I mean by that is, if you look at the very first bar, it has 2 32nd notes, 2 16th notes, and 2 32nd notes for all of beat number 1. And then if you look at bar number 4, that same rhythmic structure starts there again, and this keeps happening. So another way that you kind of look at it, it's almost like the 32nd note part is kind of shifting over. So it's like the first beat number 1, it has the 2 16th notes at the beginning and end of the beat. Beat number 2, there's only one section of the two 30-second notes, but that's shifted over one section of the beat, and then it shifts over again on the third section, or on the next beat number 3, and then it goes back to 30-second notes on the beginning and end of beat number 4, and it kind of just keeps shifting that way over and over and over again, while throwing the bend stuff in too to make it even more confusing. So hopefully this was a good enough explanation for those of you who want to know what the hell's going on this song, even though all I have is a 6th string. If you have any questions about what I discussed in this video, please ask. I definitely understand if any of this was confusing, because it probably is, especially if you're new to rhythm. If you're new to counting rhythm, I would not start by trying to learn Meshuggah. This is extremely advanced rhythmic playing. It's very difficult stuff. This is not even close to beginner. Definitely advanced stuff. So again, questions about this, let me know. That's it. Video's over. Lesson is done. If you like what you saw, I'd appreciate you hitting the thumbs up. And subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have yet to do so. If you would like to contribute to helping lessons like this get made more often, please check out the Mile High Shred Patreon page. There is a link to the website in the video description. You can also help spread the name of Mile High Shred by commenting on the video and sharing the video. Anything you do does help and is greatly appreciated. And always, thank you very much for watching.